Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Hope you're doing well, having a good day. And God bless you guys. Hello, Andrew Martin. God bless you. Hello, Jack Ray. God bless you. Hello, Abla. God bless you. Thank you again. Here's the link if you'd like to help the persecuted Christians in Nigeria. Thank God for what President Trump did. Like I said, he hasn't really, it's not so much so far what he did, it's just what he said. But the fact that it was him that said it with the power of the United States behind him to help the Nigerian Christians, praise be to God. I'm so thankful for what he did, what he said. So praise the Lord. And yeah, so this week I'm kind of doing some passages, kind of a series on very clear and detailed verses from the Quran. Okay, because the Quran tells us, okay, that it is He who has revealed to you the book fully detailed. We ought to really look at that. We should look at that the way the Quran tells this. Um, Let me see. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, that's 6:114. I just kind of want to see the verse 114. Okay, here's different ways that they translate it. Different ways they translate it. Should I seek a judge other than Allah? He's the one who revealed for you the book with the truth perfectly explained. Okay. Um, okay, here's another one that says the book in details, perfectly detailed, explained in details. Okay. Just all this detail, detail, detail. The book explained. It's not just detail, it's explained in detail. Scripture clearly explained, clearly detailed and clearly explained. Okay. Revealed to you the book in detail, fully explained, fully explained. Yo, boy, you explained in detail. Okay, so all of these words, let me see what it says in the Arabic. هو الذي أنزل إليكم الكتاب مفصلا والذين أتيناهم الكتاب يعلمون إنه منزل من ربك بالحق فلا تكونوا من الممترين. Okay, here's the word mufsalan, explained in detail. Okay, I'm kind of curious now. I'm just kind of curious now. This word mufassalan. I'd like to see how they translate this. Mufassalan, detailed, mufassalan. Okay, mufassal, detailed. Okay, so the word detail is accurate like this right here, in detail. But if we look at the Quran, okay, we got this verse here, then there's many verses talk about how detailed and well explained the Quran is. Okay. Let me see if I can find some others just to kind of, whoops. Okay, here's some other. It says, okay, well, actually, there only have it in this one verse here. I wonder if I did it in English. Detailed. Okay, let's look at here. Here's uh, some other times where this is used. The Quran to be produced by other than Allah. If it, and it was not possible this Quran be produced by other than Allah, but it is a confirmation of what was before and a detailed explanation. Detailed explanation. Okay, and here's Yusuf 1:12:11. A detailed explanation of all things. A confirmation of previous revelation, a detailed explanation. Uh, as an Arabic Quran and have detailed in it, okay? A book whose verses have been detailed. We have detailed our revelations as a detailed explanation of all things. 6:154. We have detailed the signs. Okay. Uh, okay, so detailed by knowledge. So several times this idea of the Quran being so detailed and so just so right on. Okay, abla here is mufassalan. Mufassalan, okay, is detailed. Uh, Muhammad isn't reading from a paperback Quran. He's talking about it's actually back, goatskin back Quran. He's talking about Allah's book, which he only occasionally has. Yes. So, yes. Hello, God bless you, Tiger. The Lord bless you, brother. So, okay, so the Quran says that it is so detailed and so perfectly explained. And yesterday we talked about, we talked about a verse yesterday. Let me just, okay. Uh, okay. 36:14. And it's about, it talks about, the Quran says that Allah sent three, he sent two messengers to the city, and then he sent another one, reinforced them with a third. Okay, and this is in Quran 36:14. But then, who are these? Who are these? Perfectly detailed, explained. Who are these three messengers? I mean, this is so important in the Quran. Messengers is so important in the Quran. It's talked about so much. Muhammad is called the messenger. Jesus is called the messenger. So you'd think. I mean, the Quran talks about ants. It talks about what the ants say to each other. It talks about what the birds say. It talks about these details that Muhammad was permitted to tell us. That Allah's the angel, the wing, the wing of the angel that one of the angels that holds Allah's throne. That the wing of the angel, Muhammad was permitted to tell us that the length from one tip to another is 500 years or something. I mean, there's all this detail, but something as important as three messengers being sent to a city, there is no, it's just you're left hanging. There's no detail, there's no explanation who these are. Now, if you go to the Mufassirin, the exegetes, well, they got theories. Okay, Ibn Abbas says that it's Simon the Canaanite and Thomas are the two, and the third one is Simon Peter. Okay, Ibn Kathir tells us the city because the Quran doesn't tell us the city. The city supposedly is Antioch, and the three messengers are Sadiq, Saduk, and Shalom. Okay, Ibn Jurayj and bin Sulaiman said that the three are Shamun, who is Simon, Yohanna, who is John, and Bulis, who is Paul. So they're it's Peter, John, and Paul. Okay, and then Zamashkhari. says that it's Simon and Simeon. Tabari says that the city was Antioch, and the ruler of the city was a pharaoh. So there was a pharaoh who ruled the city, and the name of the pharaoh was Antiochus, the son of Antiochus, the son of Antiochus. Okay, so Tabari tells us that it was the leader of the city was a pharaoh in Antioch. Yoboye, yoboye, yoboye. So a pharaoh in Antioch, which is in Syria, and his name is Antiochus. Yoboye. And his father's name was Antiochus, and his grandfather's name is Antiochus, and Antiochus or Antiochus. So and Tabari also says that the name of the three messengers are Sadiq, Mazduk, and Salum. Sadiq, Mazduk, Salum. Qurtubi says the names of the three messengers are Sadiq, Saduk, Shalom. Okay, so somebody, I don't know who came up with that. Ibn Kathir also had that. Al-Naqash says that the two messengers was Simeon, who I think would probably be Peter, and Yohanan, which is John. Al-Baydawi is more recent. He says that was one of the messengers was Yahya. Yahya is John the Baptist, and Eunice. Eunice is Jonah. And Simeon. My goodness. Okay, Al-Baydawi. You'd expect him to have something a little bit more, with all the modern equipment, with internet and everything. He would know a little bit better than to put John the Baptist, the prophet Jonah, and Peter in the same time period. And then Ibn Abbas and Ka'b said one of them is Sadiq and Saduk. Okay, Sadiq and Saduk. Okay, I've heard them before. Ibn Wahab ibn Munabbih says that the two are John and Paul. The second is John and Paul. The third is Tuman, which I think is probably Thomas, and Paul, according to Muqatil. So anyway, all that to tell you that the Quran says it's very detailed, well explained, Well, they don't know who, though, in 36:14, who are those three messengers? Something so important that there's no explanation of it. So today I want to look at another verse in the Quran that, and the reason I want to look at this verse is because this verse is so much has been built around this verse. This verse is so important, and so much of the Islamic beliefs are based on this verse, a very important verse to Islam. And it's chapter 17, verse 1. It says, "Glory be to the one who took his servant," in parenthesis Muhammad, "by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose surroundings we have blessed." Now, this isn't horribly, but when it says farthest mosque in Arabic, it's Al-Aqsa. Okay, min Masjid al-Haram, which is believed to be Mecca, to the farthest mosque, which is most believed to be Jerusalem. Okay, let's see how others translate it. "Glorious is he who made his servant travel by night from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa." Okay. "Exalted is he who took his servant, Prophet Muhammad, by night from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa." Okay. Masjid al-Haram, Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Now, that's Halali Khan. Halali Khan went and added all the parentheses to give us the details. Okay. Um, but him who made his servant travel by night from the sacred place of worship to the furthest place of worship. Okay. From the holy mosque. There's a lot of things that have been built around this verse. There are so many stories and that Muslims have, and one of the greatest geopolitical controversies in the world, one of the greatest geopolitical controversies in the world is the result of this verse. This verse has led to one of the greatest geopolitical conflicts, controversies on planet Earth. In fact, I think you can almost say that this verse led to the fulfillment of Zechariah chapter 13. Let me see if I can find Zechariah chapter 13 here for you. Zechariah, I think it's 13, or it's possible 14. Let me see if it's 14. Okay, Zechariah 14. Um, oh, shoot. What happened here? Well, yeah. What happened? Wow. What is going on? Weird. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay. Okay. I think it might be chapter 13. I'm going to look at chapter 13. Okay. Oh, maybe it's chapter 12. It may be chapter 12. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's chapter 12. Let me go ahead and show you. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure about this, you guys, but it seems like a little bit of a fulfillment. Why is it doing this? Okay. Yep, well, yeah. What's going on? Close. Okay. Just close. Oops. Okay. Browser has lost connection. What? Okay. Okay. All right, you guys. Sorry about that. Man, weird. Okay, but here's what it says in Zechariah chapter 12. God says, God says, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves. And it's kind of like talking about that Jerusalem is going to be a problem for the whole world on the last day when Jesus comes back. And I think that this verse in the Quran has helped to make it that. Has helped to make it that because the story, okay, the story, as many of you know, about that this verse right here. You know what's interesting is the story that has been built around this verse. Okay, um, okay, the story, and you guys all know it. Supposedly, they say that Muhammad was um, in Mecca, and then this amazing donkey with wings, a donkey with wings, was flying, and it took Muhammad with him, and Jibril was there because this donkey can fly, but it does not have internal GPS. So Jibril was guiding the donkey. It had around its neck like a leash or a rope, and Jibril was guiding the donkey in the air, okay, because it was flying, and supposedly it flew from Mecca to Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, Muhammad tied the donkey to the Burak. The name of the donkey is Burak. Barak. And the name of the line, it was tied uh, to the wall that is called Obama. I mean, it's called Barak, the name of the wall, which is the Western Wall, where the Jews pray. So anyway, we tied the donkey there, and then he climbed up to the Temple Mount, and he supposedly was going to pray there, and in the mosque, because there supposedly was a mosque there. Um, and and then while he was there, got on the rock. There was a rock there. The rock is called to the Jews. The name of the rock is called the foundation stone. They believe that this is where Abraham offered Isaac, where he's going to offer Isaac. This is what the Jews believe, okay? And that's why the temple was actually built around this rock. And this rock was also previously called the threshing floor of Araunah, where the angel of the Lord was punishing David for having a census of the Jews. He wasn't supposed to do that, and God punished him, and many men were killed because of that. But then the angel of the Lord came to Jerusalem, and he was about to hit Jerusalem. And then the Lord said, that's it, it's enough. Because when he saw Jerusalem, his heart was moved, and the Lord said, that's enough. And it says that the angel was between the heavens and the earth. So the angel was in the air with the sword drawn out. And David looked up and saw the angel. And when he saw the angel, he bought the land that over beneath where the angel was, and it's called the threshing floor of Araunah. This Jebusite guy, he bought that from him and offered a sacrifice to the Lord there, and that became the place where Solomon built the temple. Okay, it's called the foundation stone. Well, the temple had been destroyed. It was destroyed in 70 AD, but the Temple Mount area, it was a garbage dump at that time, still was there. And this rock, the foundation stone, was still there. And so when the Muslims came, they wanted that rock, and they took it and they built the Dome of the Rock. It's called the Dome of the Rock Mosque on there. In Arabic, it's called Qubbat al-Sakhra, the Dome of the Rock. Well, right next to the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount is another mosque called Al-Aqsa. And it's called that because of this verse. And this other mosque, it's just a white building. In fact, if you saw the other day when Apostate Prophet and Tommy Robinson went up to the Temple Mount, remember they were trying to go into this mosque, and the guy would not let them, and he asked them to recite Quran, and then Apostate Prophet recited the Fatiha, and when he did, that was Al-Aqsa Mosque. That is Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is referred to here, Masjid Al-Aqsa. Okay. Now, so they built this whole story, and then when he was on this rock, supposedly, what the Muslim belief is that there was two things that happened. It was called Al-Asra wal-Mi'raj. Asra wal-Mi'raj. Okay. And the Asra is the trip from Mecca to Jerusalem, supposedly, on the back of that donkey, the flying donkey. And then El Mi'raj is from the rock up to paradise, where Muhammad supposedly went up to paradise. He met with Moses, he met with Jesus, he met with Allah, and he had like 7 prophets that he supposedly met with, and so so that is the whole story. And then when he was up there, he supposedly talked to Allah. Allah told him, "Hey, have the people pray 50 times a day." And so he said, "Okay, I'll go tell the people to pray 50 times a day." And then Muhammad came down to like heaven, no, heaven number 3 or 4, one of the 7 heavens, which is also a Jewish belief, by the way. Um, the 7 heavens. And he met with Moses, and Moses said to Muhammad, said, "Dude, there's no way people are going to pray 50 times a day. Go back up and tell Allah, make it 45 or something." So he goes up and tells Allah, "My people can't pray 5 times, 50 times a day. So can we make it go lower?" And then Allah says, "Okay, make it 45." And then he goes back and talks to Moses, and then Moses says, "Dude, there's no way people are going to pray 45 times a day. I've made religions before. I know how people are. They're not going to pray for 45 times a day. Go tell Allah to make it less." So they kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it came down to 5. And then Muhammad came down and told Moses, said, "Hey, Allah agreed to make it 5 times instead of 50 times." And then Moses says, "Okay, that works. People will pray that many times." So anyway, so all of this happened, okay, on this night when Muhammad supposedly, it's called the Al Mi'raj. And the Muslims celebrate this every year. It's called Laylat al Mi'raj, the night of his ascent into heaven. And it's interesting. He supposedly ascended to heaven from the Temple Mount, just across because Jesus ascended to heaven from the Mount of Olives, and Muhammad supposedly ascended to heaven from Mount Zion. Don't tell him which mountain he ascended from. Okay, but anyway, that's the whole belief, and it's all based, you guys, on this verse right here. It's all based on this verse right here. And let me just tell you exactly, word for word, what it says in the Arabic. Okay, okay. Praised is the one who took his servant in the nighttime from the mosque of the blessed mosque to the farthest mosque, the surroundings of which we have blessed. Okay, and he is all seeing and hearing. Well, based on all, my dad used to always say "Yabaye," and so I've just started saying it. Me and my wife now say it all the time. So, but all of this whole story with the donkey and the trip and Moses and everything, all of that was based on this verse right here. But there's some problems. There's some problems with this verse. If you look at this verse in the Arabic, number one, it says, "Praised is the one who took his servant." And the problem with this verse is that it doesn't tell you who the servant is. I know the Quran is perfectly detailed. I know that it's perfectly clear, perfectly detailed, and everything is explained. Well, this is not explained. The Quran does not tell us which servant this is. So we don't know who the servant is. Okay? So here's one of the clear, detailed issues that is not clear and not detailed. Who is this servant? In Arabic, it says, "Subhan alladhi asra bi'abdihi." His servant. It doesn't say Muhammad. So it says, "who took his servant." Well, why is this an issue? Why is it a problem? Because if you continue reading this chapter, which is called Surat al-Isra, it's called Surat al-Isra, the surah of the taking, in a sense, the journey. They say night journey, but not really what it means, but it's the taking, the taking of him. The problem with that is that there's another name for this surah. This surah has another name. I'll give $5 to whoever can tell me the other name of this surah. $5 cash. Just who knows the other name of this surah? Anybody? Ferris Bueller? Anybody? Anybody? Who can tell me the name, the other name of this surah? Who can tell me the other name of this surah? It's called Al-Isra, yes, but there's another name for it. Thinking of more. Okay, Andrew Martin. Andrew Martin got it. Al-Isra. It's called the Israelites. It's called the Israelites. Mazakstra. Beni Israel. Very good, Mazakstra. I haven't seen you here before. Are you a Muslim by any chance? Mazakstra? Maz extra. It's also called the Israelites, which, if you look at it, the name Isra, Israelin, it's very close. It's almost as if it's supposed to be the Israelites. It's called the Israelites. Welcome, Maz Zextra. God bless you. And yes, the next verses of this surah are about Moses. Oh, God bless you. Welcome to you. So the next verses of this, it's called the Israelites, and this is about Moses. I mean, the rest of this is about Moses and the Israelites. So how is it that the first verse is about this magic donkey and this amazing trip to see Moses up and to see Jesus, because he also saw Jesus supposedly, and all these prophets and all of these amazing things that happened on this journey up to the Jannah, where he met with Allah and Moses and everybody, and this magic donkey ride. All of this comes out of this verse. How could the first verse be all about this donkey ride and everything? Magic donkey ride. And yes, I did write a song about it. David Wood told me to do it, and I did it. And but I lost it. I don't have it anymore. But anyway, and then all of a sudden, it's all about Moses and about the Jews. So how does it that it goes from this this trip, this magic donkey ride, down? All of a sudden, it's talking about Moses and the Israelites. How could that be? The much more likely that this verse, when it says the servant, that the servant is not Muhammad, but the servant is Moses. There's another little clue in this. It says, whose blessings we have surrounded, whose surrounding we have blessed. Okay? Just because when it talks about the burning bush where Moses met Allah, supposedly in the Quran, that there it talks about the area around the burning bush. It says that we have blessed. And so it kind of looks like this is really supposed to be about Moses and not about Muhammad. But I'm going to tell you, you guys, I'm going to tell you why this crazy story with the magic donkey and all this stuff happened. Okay, I'm going to tell you very quickly. What happened is that there was around the time of after Muhammad died, there were two competing caliphs. Okay, there's two competing caliphs. One was called Abd al-Malik. Abd al-Malik was in Syria. And then there was another caliph in Mecca. And the caliph in Mecca was called Abdullah bin, I forgot his name. Okay, Abdullah, I forgot what his name is, but he was another caliph. So there was two competing caliphs. Okay, in the north was the Umayyad caliph, Abd al-Malik, very famous. He's the one who built the Al-Aqsa Mosque. He's the one who built the Dome of the Rock. Okay. And then there was Abdullah, I forgot his last name, but anyway, in Mecca. And so Abdullah in the north, Abdul Malik in the north wanted to keep the Muslims loyal to him. So what he did is he said, you know what, you guys, you don't need to go to Mecca to do your Hajj, to do your 7 circumambulations around the dome, the rock in Mecca. Instead, do your Hajj, your pilgrimage in Jerusalem at the Dome of the Rock, and just walk around this rock instead of the rock in Mecca. Instead of going to Mecca, kissing the rock and walking around at the same time, come to Jerusalem, walk around the rock in Jerusalem. And so he built the Dome of the Rock to make it a alternative Hajj for the Muslims, because he wanted them to follow him instead of following Abdullah, I forgot the guy's name, in Mecca. And so he's the one who built the Dome of the Rock. And he built it, it was all pagan, yes. He built it to replace Mecca as the holy place. And he is the one who kind of said, you know what? Let's use this verse. Let's use this verse to say that Al-Aqsa, which is the farthest, supposedly the farthest mosque, which means the farthest mosque, and say that the Al-Aqsa is in Jerusalem. Because it doesn't say nothing about Jerusalem. It doesn't say nothing in this verse about Jerusalem. There's nothing in this verse about Jerusalem, okay? It says Al-Aqsa. And today, Al-Aqsa is very famous. It's a very famous mosque. It's in Jerusalem. But this mosque did not, Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, did not exist in the time of Muhammad. And if you look in the hadiths and all the books, it says that Muhammad went into the Al-Aqsa Mosque and he saw the windows and he saw the buildings and he saw everything, you know. So, you know, this is all because Abdul Malik in the north, very famous. Abdul Malik is very famous. Umayyad Caliph. He wanted the Muslims to come to the north and not go to Abdullah in the Mecca, all the way down there to do their Hajj. Okay, and plus they make a lot of money. When you got a pilgrimage site, you guys, you get a lot of money. You got to pay hotels. You got to, people got to pay for hotels. They got to buy souvenirs. They got to, it's a money making venture to have a pilgrimage site. And so he said, I want that here in Jerusalem instead of in Mecca. So he built the Al-Aqsa Mosque as an alternative Hajj site instead of the Mecca site. Okay, and he even had people walk around it just like they do in Mecca. So anyway, but he needed some kind of scriptural validation for what he was doing, and he used this verse. And he built the whole story about the magic donkey, about the magic donkey ride, about all of this. Asra bi'abdihi, from min Masjid al-Haram, from the Mosque of al-Haram in Mecca to the Mosque of Al-Aqsa, which he built in Jerusalem. It didn't exist at the time of this verse. At the time of this verse, there was no Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Okay, there was no Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. But, you guys, there was a Masjid al-Aqsa. Okay, but it wasn't in Jerusalem. It wasn't in Jerusalem. It was next to Mecca. There was an Al-Aqsa Mosque, but it was not in Jerusalem. It was in a city called Ja'raneh, which is just like 20 miles from Mecca. It's just like 20 miles from Mecca. And Muhammad had gone there many times. And the word Al-Aqsa means the farthest. But there were 2 mosques in this city, Ja'raneh. One was called Al-Adna, which means the closer, and the other one is called Al-Aqsa, which is the farthest. So, they didn't have very creative names for their mosques back then. They didn't call them the Mosque of Moses, son of Muqatil, or the Yasser Arafat Mosque or the Jamal Abdel Nasser Mosque. No, they called them very simple terms like the close one and the far one. And the far one in Arabic is Al Aqsa. And so Al Aqsa, Muhammad many times went to this Al Aqsa Mosque in Jawrana, which is right next to Mecca. It's not in Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Thank you very much. You know what? No, it's not Abdullah bin Mas'ud. It's I thought I was thinking it was Abdullah, but it's not. There's another one. So, yeah, Abdullah bin Mas'ud is very important. But oh, by the way, thank you, Adam or Adam. Adam. I'm not sure if that or Adam. Either way, God bless you. Thank you for your gift. God bless you. So, so this verse right here, look at all the stories that they came up with. Bin Zayd. No, I don't think it's Bin Zayd. He was, if you say it, I'm gonna remember, so anyway, all of this crazy story came about on this verse right here, but this verse doesn't have any of those details. So the Quran, the book that is so clear, so perfectly explained, it doesn't explain who the servant is. It doesn't explain where Al-Aqsa is. It doesn't explain how he went from Al-Aqsa to Haram. It doesn't explain anything about the donkey. It doesn't explain anything about the magic, how Jibreel was the GPS system for Al-Buraq. None of these details are in this verse, but all of this came about from these words. How many words is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 20, 30 words. And they got this whole crazy story built around it. And you'll find it in all of the hadith and all of those things. But there's so many contradictions and so many. I mean, Aisha said that Muhammad did not go. She said, Muhammad was sleeping next to me that night. So there's no way he went on this donkey ride. There was no donkey. There was no, and it's not just a donkey, you guys. It's in between a donkey and a mule. So it's kind of like in between, but it's like its legs are really huge. And so it's like, yeah, it was not a reindeer. It was not a reindeer. Okay. But this verse doesn't clarify, so I'm not going to say 100% it wasn't a reindeer. But this verse does not say. Some people say it was just a dream, but Muhammad said that that this was a real thing, and he even talks about that he went there and he saw the windows, he saw all this stuff, but there was no Al-Aqsa Mosque at this time. And there's one way that we absolutely know there was no building there at the time, because the third caliph, Muhammad died 632. The third caliph was Umar bin Khattab, and he became the caliph in 634. And he was a caliph for 10 years until 644. In that time, he went to Jerusalem, and he was going to go, he wanted to pray. And the person who the patriarch or whoever was the church, the priest of the Church of the Resurrection, the Holy Sepulchre, said, "Oh, you can pray in here if you want to Umar bin Khattab." But Umar bin Khattab said, "If I pray here, then the Muslims are going to come take over the church and turn it into a mosque, like they did to the Hagia Sophia and done to so many churches in England." And so there was no mosque for him to pray in, but they went ahead and built the. It was Abdul Malik who went ahead and built the Dome of the Rock. Okay, and there was no Dome of the Rock at the time. So you guys, I'm telling you this, but this is so hugely. My name is Hussein. That's my legal name, but my nickname is Steve. So this is such a huge controversy because the Muslim world, the holiest site in Islam is Mecca. Number 2 is Medina. Number 3 is Jerusalem. And the reason that Jerusalem is number 3 is because of this verse, because of this crazy story about the magic flying donkey. Okay, all of this is based from this verse right here, but there's no mention of Jerusalem in this verse. In fact, there's no mention of Jerusalem in the whole Quran. Okay, there's no mention of Palestine, of course, because in the Quran at all. There is mention of Israel, okay, and Bani Israel, the sons of Israel, but there's no mention of Jerusalem or El Barak or Obama or none of these are mentioned in this verse. But this whole story comes from this one verse. So anyway, the Quran is perfectly detailed. It tells us that it's perfectly detailed. Okay, and here's the verse again. It says the book fully detailed, but it doesn't tell us anything. Okay, and in it are verses that are precise, the foundation of the book. Okay, so anyway, I want to show you just a verse. I want to show you kind of a video where if you look at some educated Muslims from Al Azhar University, they're beginning to say, you know what, you guys, we got this wrong. And let me just tell you, there's no way that they're going to get the Muslims to admit that the Al-Aqsa is not in Jerusalem. There's no way. Even Iran, which is Shiite, even Iran, they call they have what's called the Jerusalem Brigades. It's like the top part of their military. It's called the Jerusalem Brigades. And their purpose is to take Jerusalem back someday. Why? Because of this magic donkey story. Okay, this magic donkey story. It's all based on this verse, 17:1, which doesn't say any of those things that they believe about it, about the magic donkey, about the ride, about the trip to heaven. It doesn't say, the verse doesn't say that. It doesn't even say that it's Muhammad. Okay, but all of this mythology came to be built around this one little undetailed, unexplained verse. It says the Quran is perfectly detailed and explained, but it's not. So anyway, but I just want to show you that, and this in Arabic, so I will translate it for you. Okay, so see this guy right here.
هتوصل لايه يا دكتور من اذا كان هناك تفسير؟
اقول لك اوصل لايه وهقول لك ليه اوصل له.
Okay, he's asking him, okay, so what's the point you're trying to make? Okay, this is a guy who's a big professor at Al Azhar University.
هوصل الى انه العلماء بتوعنا الاوائل الواقدي والطبري
he's saying all the scholars like Al-Waqidi and
وكتير منهم
and many of them
قالوا يا جماعه المسجد الاقصى احنا مش عارفين ان سيدنا محمد بعد ما ضايقوه في قريش راح دعا في الطائف.
Okay. He says, we know that when Muhammad had a bunch of problems in Mecca, that he went to a city called Al-Ta'if, which is near Ja'ran, in the city I was talking about.
وعلى طريق الطائف في مسجدين.
And he says, on the way to Al-Ta'if, this city where Muhammad would go hang out when they persecuted him in Mecca, there were 2 mosques.
مسجد اسمه المسجد الأدنى ومسجد اسمه المسجد الأقصى.
One of the mosques is called Al-Adna, which is the near one, and the other one is called Al-Aqsa, which is the far one.
فالآية في سورة الإسراء بتعبر عن حال النبي وهو بيفكر متحير زي إبراهيم كده.
So he's saying that this verse is talking about how Muhammad was, thinking and meditating like Abraham.
لما قال رب أرني أنظر إليك موسى.
And he compared him to Moses.
وإبراهيم وكتير من الأنبياء مروا بمرحلة الخير. فالآية بتقول سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده.
So the verse says, praise be the one who took his
من
servant
المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى.
from the Haram, which is in Mecca, to Al-Aqsa, which is in Ta'if, which is like 20 miles from Mecca.
الذي باركنا حوله. في وقت ما كانش فيه صلاة.
It says at the time there was no prayer.
يبقى إذن ده مكان تقديس ومكان معروف، وإلا
It was a very well-known
كان
place
تم تعريفه.
because how is it explained as if it was introduced like this?
فالواقدي وغيره
Al-Waqidi and others. Al-Waqidi is very respected. He's the one who made the Asbab al-Nuzul, the reason for the revelation.
قالوا إن ده المسجدين اللي هم على طريق مكة من
It says these two mosques were on the way to Mecca.
جهة الطائف.
هو ده الحرام والأقصى؟
In Ta'if, the city a few miles from Mecca, not in Jerusalem.
بس ليه؟ لأنه الأقصى ما كانش موجود.
He says there was no Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem at the time of this verse.
ولا كانت المدينة الموجودة اسمها القدس، كانت
And the city wasn't even called Al-Quds, which is what Muslims call, which means the holy city. It means the holy in Arabic.
اسمها إيلياء.
It was called Eliyah at the time. Aliyah, that's what the Romans called Jerusalem.
نعم.
ولا كان فيها مساجد.
And there were no mosques in it. So this guy.
طب أقول لك دليل تاني.
طيب.
لما راح الخليفة عمر بن الخطاب.
He says when Umar bin al-Khattab, okay, this is a story I
هو
told
كان
you
عنده
already.
جيوش، الجيوش الأربعة اللي هي انتزعت دمشق بقى العاصمة، قوادها تقريبا هم اللي كانوا حاضرين العهدة العمرية وشهدوا عليها، يعني في آخر العهدة العمرية.
Okay. So anyway, this is a scholar from Al-Azhar University who's saying all this stuff. Okay, and Al-Aqsa is not in Jerusalem. But anyway, the Quran, the perfectly detailed, perfectly explained Quran, doesn't tell us where this mosque is, but it was a very well-known mosque. It's almost like saying, it's almost like from the Bible, like if you say that Jesus went to Capernaum, or he went to the synagogue in Capernaum. Well, that's a well-known place. Lots of people knew it, and so it's well known. And so when it says Al-Aqsa in the when it says Al-Aqsa in the Quran, it was well known where this was. Muhammad went there many times. Many times he went there. Okay, so it was a well-known place, and it was not in Jerusalem, and there was no mosque Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem at the time, and there was no magic donkey, and there was no magic trip to Jannah and Mi'raj, Asra Mi'raj. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, so we just wanted to say, here again, another verse in. Come on, we all know the donkey story sounds true. There's actually a guy who came up with this, and he had to, when he came to Jerusalem, he actually asked, it was a Muslim guy, and he said, where is the Jews' rock, the rock of the Jews? He came to Jerusalem and he looked for this rock, and it was well known, and it was a garbage dump at that time. Okay, let me show you some pictures here. Okay, this is the rock right here. See at the bottom right here? This is the rock. It's called the foundation stone. And it is, the Jews believe that this is the rock where Abraham offered Isaac. This is a place where Abraham offered Isaac. It's on Mount Moriah. It's out on Mount Moriah. Okay. And so, and the Muslims do not believe that Ishmael was offered here because, the belief is that he was offered in Mecca. Okay. But Muslims are claiming that this is theirs. And this rock is called the pierced rock because there's holes in it. Here's another picture of it. This is the rock. Okay. See the hole in it? And one of the reasons why it's got that hole in it is that they believe that this was believed to be where the Holy of Holies was. See how it looks like this rock? Like there's grooves in it, like they had done some work on it. See, like the lines. This is the rock. They believe that this rock is from this place that Muhammad went to heaven. Well, the Jews believe this is where the Ark of the Covenant stood. The Ark of the Covenant supposedly stood here. But it's an interesting rock because interesting, the Jews kind of, Solomon, he's the one who built the temple. He kind of anticipated that the Babylonians or someone would come and destroy the temple. And so he had a secret pulley system here that that would be able to conceal the Ark of the Covenant if the temple was destroyed. And so they believe that this rock was actually that there was some kind of a lever system. And some people believe, remember in front of the temple, there were two pillars. One of them was called Boaz. One of them was called, I can't remember the name of the other one, but there were two pillars in front of the temple. And in the Bible, those two pillars are named. But these two pillars, what's interesting is that one is a little bit shorter than the other one. And why is that? And people believe that this one that's shorter, that it actually had a pulley system connected to this rock that would pull it down in case the rock would go up or something, and the Ark of the Covenant would be concealed and the rock would come back up. And so anyway, all this to say, the Quran says that it's a very clear and detailed book. Well, apparently it's not. It's not clear and it's not detailed. And so anyway, this is tomorrow we'll have another episode about the clear, detailed Quran. And so I just want to say one thing about YouTube ministries. One thing about YouTube ministries is that, and this is a little bit of a concern for me. I believe that Christian ministry, needs to come from the church. That somehow there needs to be a connection between ministry and the church. To where even if we're doing a ministry on YouTube, for example, there's a lot of Christian ministry on YouTube. And it's like, is there someone that people are accountable to? Because when there's ministry, like in the church, for instance, say that I'm doing the youth group. As a youth pastor, and I have been a youth pastor, you are accountable to the pastor. And so I'm doing all these things with the kids, taking them out witnessing, taking them on, trips, taking them on, camping trips. doing all these things with the kids, but I do it in a relationship of accountability to the church, to the pastor. The pastor is, you see, there's a fivefold ministry. There's pastor, teacher, evangelist, prophet, apostle. Fivefold ministry that's spoken about in Ephesians. So there is an authority structure in the church, and it's given for the perfecting of the saints so that we can do the work of the ministry. And here on YouTube, there's a lot of ministry, but there's not accountability sometimes. Okay. And I think that ministry on YouTube, all ministry needs to be connected to the church somehow, to where there is a accountability. I'm accountable to this person. To where a pastor, for instance, sees me saying something, and the pastor comes and says, you know what you're saying is wrong, and the way you said it was wrong, the way you spoke to that person was wrong. And because this kind of ministry is called, there's kind of parachurch ministries. These are ministries outside the church, and quite often those ministries are not accountable to anybody. But if it's being done in the name of the Lord Jesus for the sake of the church, so that people will come to church, then there needs to be some kind of accountability. And I'm talking about myself too. So yeah, that was I listened to it, and I was traveling at the time, so I got to listen to all 6 hours of it. And so anyway, that's yeah. So God bless you guys. Yeah. What I wanted to say is just that there needs to be accountability if something is done in the name of the Lord, because there are guidelines and for ministry. That ministry, nobody's out there by himself. There's no lone wolves in ministry. We're all part of the body. And even if we're doing something that's really not directly for the church, but it's evangelistic, like YouTube ministry, it's an outreach of the church. So you know what, Abla, I'm going to do a song, but I'm not going to actually sing it. It's a video that I recorded. It's a Petra song. I don't know if you guys know Petra, famous Christian group. It's one of my favorite Petra songs. It's called Judas Kiss. And I actually recorded it, and I was playing the guitar. Jail something. Oh, you know what? Okay. All right. Since you asked for that one, okay, I'll go ahead and do the jail song. So, okay, the jail song is on TikTok, so I gotta go get that one. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Where's that jail song? Jail song is on TikTok. Okay. It's not every day that people ask me to play songs. So this is my main song. So it's called Everyone Wants to Be Free. So I'll go ahead and end with this. And you guys, if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. So here's the jail song. Everyone wants to be free. Okay.
mixes her wine and she calls all the time. Is there anybody listening at all? We loved our addictions and we cling to our fictions, and we love television and we've got tunnel vision. We've been on this road and we know where it goes, but we just close our eyes like we don't want to know. But still everyone wants to be free. Everyone wants to be free. Freedom, it comes from just one place. You need not waste your time. The bloody manade between two criminals to die. He did it for others, he did it for me. He can heal broken hearts, make the blind eyes to see. He did it for others, he did it for me. He can heal broken hearts, make the blind eyes to see. Because everyone wants to be free. Everyone wants to be free.
If you have ever wondered why Dole apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth, this happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.